Your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and the lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Wealthy Wednesdays, and therefore we are worldwide with Dr. Wilmer Leon, political scientist whose primary areas of expertise are Black politics, public policy, and American government. For 11 years, Dr. Leon was lecturer in the political science department at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Today, he is a nationally broadcast radio host. His show, Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon, is on Sirius XM Satellite Radio Channel 126. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the show.
As always, good afternoon, and thank you for the invitation.
You're always welcome, Dr. Leon. I don't want to waste any time. There's so much going on in the news. Why don't we begin with this clip from Mayor of New York, Mayor Mamdani.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
Mayor, the city of New York City. Dr. Wilmer Leon, your initial response to Mayor Mamdani's speech to the people of New York, and really his speech to the people of the United States. We'll get to that in just a moment.
I thought that was brilliant and phenomenal. And I think it demonstrates truly a shift in the narrative as it relates to the United States. I think I have this data correct. Outside of Tel Aviv, the largest contingent of Jews lives in New York. And here is the mayor of New York amidst the largest contingent of Jews outside of Tel Aviv saying that the prime minister of Israel should be arrested and that if he could, he would. That to me demonstrates a clear shift in the narrative, in the Zionist narrative. And I think that's phenomenal. And what I wish he would have mentioned is that the United States is an accessory, that the United States is complicit in the genocide that he just articulated, because the United States is complicit before, during, and after the crime. But I think I think what Mayor Mamdani is stating was brilliant, and would have loved to have seen how that would have, if he'd have tried to do that. And I'm glad that he didn't try to do it, and we can talk about that. That would have been something to see.
You know, when we come forward, we are going to unpack the mayor of New York speech. But I can sure say this: he sure looked stately. He looked like a national leader, not just the mayor of New York City. In fact, he looked like a global leader. The entire framing of how the mayor of New York presented his case really before the world, I think is a factor in the growing influence of Mayor Zohran Mamdani's influence in global politics. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out, not for everyone, because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to Worldwide with Dr. Wilmer Leon on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. This is Wealthy Wednesday on our show. Dr. Leon, welcome forward.
Again, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Dr. Leon, can we first begin with the legal basis by which the mayor of New York initially brought forward the claim that he intended to arrest the prime minister of the state of Israel?
You mean the fact that there's an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court?
Yes, I believe the mayor of New York was seeking to enforce that warrant.
Yes, he was seeking to enforce that warrant. But I believe the major issue would be, I think the major issue here would be Netanyahu coming to New York to attend the United Nations general meetings. And so there is I think it's a 25-mile radius of safety zone that no world leader can be arrested within that 25-mile radius of the United Nations when they're coming to the UN for UN meetings.
In both terms of Donald Trump, the U.S. has said it won't cooperate with the ICC and has threatened retaliatory steps against ICC staff members for efforts that investigate U.S. or allied citizens. In 2025, Trump sanctioned ICC prosecutor Karim Khan. Then in June, sanctioned 4 ICC judges, 2 who authorized the Afghanistan war crimes investigation, and 2 approved the warrants against Gallant and Netanyahu. Why is it that the United States does not cooperate with the ICC? And the reason I raise that is because obviously when the United States went to Venezuela and captured Maduro and brought him to the United States, it certainly believes it has the right in a foreign country to execute an American warrant from an American federal court. The same is the case against Noriega. The same is the case against other so-called drug dealers or tyrants that we brought to our shores to hold trial. Of course, That also excludes American intervention in countries like Libya and countries like Iraq, where we literally sought regime change, not under any recognized form of justice for in the global community, where by war we encourage the people themselves to depose their leaders without even enforcing our basic values, which include but are not limited to the right of persons to be secure in their persons and have their day in court. How does America justify the hypocrisy of not enforcing warrants or selectively, if you will, Dr. Leon, enforcing warrants?
It is just sheer hypocrisy. The United States sees itself above the law. In June, Marco Rubio said that the International Criminal Court should be dismantled. He accuses the ICC of waging a war against our country, not with bullets or missiles, or with force, but with the force of so-called international law. The United States sees itself above the law. In fact, there's also what's known as the Hague Invasion Act. I think technically it's known as the American Service Members Protection Act, where the United States vows that if a U.S. military person or an elected official is arrested by the ICC, that the United States will invade the Hague to protect them. So it's just hubris. It's just imperialism. It's colonial. I mean, we can throw a lot of descriptors on it. It is the United States believing that the United States is the world policeman above the law and does not have to abide by anything that the World Court pronounces.
Let me ask you this question. Is anyone responsible for Americans that have lost their lives in the Gaza or during the conflict? Is there any justice for those families who might have been on the receiving end of either U.S. weapons, U.S. bombs, or Israel's attacks on medical personnel, on hospitals, on aid workers? Is there any enforcement taking place that you are aware of the human rights of those Americans who lost their lives in this conflict?
No, unfortunately, they're just cannon fodder. As far as particularly as far as Donald Trump sees it, and I base that on, if you remember his comments about John McCain, when people were talking about John McCain having been a prisoner of war, and he said, "Oh, I just see him as a loser. He got caught." No, it's not as far as I know. And there again, I think in the mind of an American president such as Donald Trump, the military is merely the tool to be used to a greater end, which is his personal enrichment. And he's got an army. He's going to use that army to pad his coffers and the coffers of his family and those friends around him. So I think the answer to that question is no.
Dr. Leon, it is clear that Mr. Mamdani, Mayor Mamdani's strength and stature within the Democratic Party is growing. He is
tremendous,
a proud Democratic socialist. It's impossible to imagine that at the next Democratic convention to nominate the next president of the United States, that the mayor of the nation's largest city, a Democratic mayor, Mamdani, will not have an opportunity to address the nation. He's bringing tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and maybe even millions of young people into the process. He's electing members of Congress, not only in the state of New York, but he's electing and influencing and encouraging members of Congress who are aligned with his economic concerns domestically to run for high office, to run for public office. Mamdani's going to be a force in 2028, which could also lead to the kind of division that we're seeing presently in the Democratic caucus under the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries. Any concerns about where the Democrats will be in 2028 under the growing influence of Zohran Mamdani?
Well, if the Democrats foolishly pursue the path that they're on, they'll be like Olivia, lost and turned out.
Not Olivia.
I can quote the Whispers, because they look. The Democratic Socialists are running on a platform that my memory tells me used to be the platform of the Democratic Party.
Mm.
But as Du Bois told us in 1956, there is no democracy in America. The two parties have become one. And he's not going to vote for the lesser of two evils. He says there is no lesser of two evils. They're both evil. And the position that the Democratic elite are taking towards Zohran Mamdani, I think, is a fool's errand. Hakeem Jeffries needs to understand, man, he doesn't owe you anything. He doesn't owe you an apology. He doesn't owe you a meeting. You might want to get in line to talk to him. He beat you. He beat you in the primary, and then he beat you in the general election. He beat you in D.C. He beat you in Colorado. You might want to ask him what's the secret sauce instead of telling him he owes you an apology or he has to have a meeting with you all and you all want to talk to. You can't call that man to the principal's office. He is the principal.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to check your ego at the door and listen to what they're saying. And I'm not saying that people need to become democratic socialists. What I'm saying is people need to pay attention to the politics that's being played out and the policies that are being articulated. And you might want to take some notes, because the test is coming and they're giving you the answer to the test.
The issues of affordability have been brought to the nation's attention in a very, very clear and profound way after Mamdani became mayor of the city of New York. So there is this domestic issue and his leading on critical questions relative to the economy that impact all Americans. There's certain strength in Mamdani's message. I'm not so sure, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Mamdani's influence in light of today's speech regarding the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu now connects many of the domestic issues and domestic concerns that he's raised here on the questions of affordability with foreign policy.
Absolutely.
Bringing young people and new people into a larger conversation about the direction of the United States and its relationship with Israel. Even most recently, Rahm Emanuel gave a speech in Tel Aviv, and in that particular speech, he rebuked Benjamin Netanyahu and the present policy, and he suggested that in the United States, Zohran Mamdani is more popular than Benjamin Netanyahu. In fact, he is more popular than the American-Israeli Political Action Committee. Your thoughts, Dr. Leon?
More than 100 Democrats voted to end U.S. assistance to Israel in the last vote, in the vote that took place last week. And Hakeem Jeffries was on the wrong side of that vote, wrong side of the issue, wrong side of history. And he tried to square the circle by talking about there needs to be a reset. We can't continue down the same path. Well, help me understand that, Hakeem. You want to not continue down the same path by continuing down the same path. People are a little smarter than this, bruh. That math, 1 + 1 does not equal 7. So again, the Democrats have to do, look, Kamala Harris in a speech a couple of weeks, in an interview a couple of weeks ago, said, this is not a binary issue. Genocide is not a binary issue. Help me understand this. Where's the middle ground on genocide? Where's the upside on genocide? I don't see one. I don't know that one exists, but she wants to tell us this is not a binary issue. You gotta pick a team here. Moral ambiguity is not the answer.
Since you brought up Kamala Harris, let me ask you this question because we have about 2 minutes before we come forward. Have you heard any clarity amongst the Democratic contenders, potential contenders whose names have been touted about on these questions along the lines or consistent with the strength that Zohran Mamdani has been preaching and dictating and sharing with the American people? Is there anyone running for president that's even close?
Chris Van Hollen.
Chris Van Hollen.
Chris Van Hollen, the senator from Maryland, he hasn't announced a run, but he's showing up on my television every other day. So that tells me that he's trying to increase his national visibility, which indicates to me he's considering this. He has been speaking out and making a whole lot more sense than just about any other Democrat in the Congress that's running for president, that's making the bid. But what is happening is, and what's the adage? There go the people. I am their leader. I must follow them. That's what's happening on this issue now. Is the position of the base is changing, and leadership better get on board with the base.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I saw a dressing down, and that's what we'll talk about when we come forward, by Senator Ossoff of Pete Hegseth before a committee in the Congress of the United States about things Pete Hegseth has said about the war in Iran having been won months ago. And now he's before the Congress seeking billions of dollars more to continue the conflict. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. America is at a crossroads. More on KBLA Talk 1580. We're with Dr. Wilmer Leon. More when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Still undetermined. That's the results of a private autopsy conducted on behalf of the family of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Speaking at the NAACP National Convention in Chicago, civil rights attorney Ben Crump said the manner of Wells' death is still pending investigation.
He's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play.
Wells was found dead in the water on July 6, just off Horn Island, Mississippi, where he was on a boating trip with friends. Tropical storm Bertha is making its way toward the Louisiana coast. Bertha is currently about 55 miles northeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River. And bipartisan lawmakers are introducing a bill aimed at providing a clear regulatory framework for hemp and hemp-derived THC products. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Beat the heat without breaking the bank at Wild Rivers Water Park in Irvine. Summer's hottest days mean the coolest savings at wildrivers.com. With 25 attractions to thrill and chill, Wild Rivers delivers sun and fun for everyone. Visit wildrivers.com for more information.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. A two-run homer by Dodgers third baseman Max Muncy was enough for the Dodgers to squeeze out a 2-1 win Tuesday night in Philadelphia. The Dodgers wrap up their 3-game series in Philadelphia tonight. Somebody in the Miami Heat social media department got a little excited about the possibility of LeBron rejoining the team as a free agent. An announcement was displayed Tuesday on the Heat's YouTube channel promoting a LeBron introductory press conference on July 27th. The staff person created the post to have it ready just in case LeBron picks the Heat. Apparently, the person hit the wrong button and the post went public. The post was visible for about an hour before it was deleted. No word yet on whether the person still has a job with the Heat. The Heat, Golden State, Philadelphia, and Cleveland are the top contenders to sign LeBron. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Girl, it's back. We've been waiting. I love that honey pepper pimento sandwich.
And that pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite is everything. It's got that razzle dazzle that makes you stop and say, okay, wait a minute.
I love the creaminess of the pimento cheese. It's savory, it's bold, it's flavorful.
Our faves are back. High five, girl.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
We don't do ordinary. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Oh no. Straight the roof down.
Oh, no, we have time.
Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed was the mark on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Wealthy Wednesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and we're worldwide with Dr. Wilmer Leon. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the show.
As always, thanks for the invite.
Dr. Leon, Pete Hegseth, before the Congress of the United States, recently said, and I mean within the last few hours, that we have spent more than $37.5 billion on the conflict thus far. And he's now before the Congress of the United States asking for an additional $67 billion, that's with a B, $billion, more than twice what he said we spent when he declared victory, unconditional, complete, more than 4 months ago. Dr. Leon, America has issued us a bad check. It keeps coming back marked insufficient funds unless it's Pete Hegseth before a congressional committee seeking to fund this war. Dr. Leon?
So let's just say for grins, it's you said initially what 37 billion was spent. So let's say 40 on that, and then let's say 70 instead of the 67, just to round up. So we're looking at, let's say 110 billion. You're trying to spend 110 billion to defeat an enemy with no Navy, because you told us you blew up their Navy. They have no Air Force because you told us you decimated their Air Force. So what do they have left to fight with? You told me, Petey. You told me
not Petey.
Petey and Johnny Dum Dum told
Let's go to
told us months ago, oh, we decimated their Air Force, we decimated their Navy. So you should just be able to you should be able to send them a letter.
Hey, wait a second, Doc Leon. Our producer is just pulling me to say, pitch to this senator from Michigan who has a video that's just begging to play right before you right now.
Go ahead. Roll them.
You are back now before Congress asking for almost $70 billion in additional funding. You're asking the American people for a blank check because, once again, the Trump administration's efforts have been an utter and complete failure to win this war to this point. So my question for you, sir, is how is your strategy different than what we've seen in the past? So far, we have not seen a strategy that's been successful. You mentioned nuclear material as the primary goal of the war. It still exists. We haven't dealt with that issue yet. You talk about the destruction of missiles, and yet the missiles that we saw hit recent targets are actually somehow more lethal, more deadly, more maneuverable than what we have seen in the past. So they're obviously improving their munitions. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed, reminding everybody it was open before the war. Prices were lower for everybody until the war, and it still remains closed. And of course, tragically, service members, our warfighters who we care deeply about, are still dying. So what's different? Mr. Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth.
I think your characterization of this incredible effort as a failure is reckless. And I think it's irresponsible. And I think it smears the sacrifice of the troops that are out there making on behalf of the American people to ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. Shame on you and others who call this a quagmire and a failure, and then you want to turn around and say you support the warfighter. Either you do or you don't.
Is the nuclear material still there,
I can
sir?
get you a ticket out to CENTCOM and talk to what those Americans are doing, and how committed they are to this effort, and how they want to ensure that Iran never threatens their families with a nuclear weapon. That's the kind of intensity that our warfighters have about making sure that Iran isn't capable of doing that.
Secretary Hegseth, if you listen to my comments, you would have heard me say how amazing our warfighters are.
I heard failure. And the word heard. I heard exactly what you said.
I will tell you how I use the word failure, because I use the word failure to their leaders. You, sir, are the failure, not the men and women who are on that front line, not the men and women who hold up their honor with distinction. But if there's a lack of a winning strategy, they're in harm's way. Their leaders have failed them. And that's what's happening. We have political leadership.
It doesn't get much clearer than that. And I got another clip for the next hour with Dr. S. Todd Eury. Your thoughts on what Senator Peters is saying about the U.S. government not having a strategy in Iran? Unmute, Dr. Leon. You're muted, Doc. Dr. Leon is going to unmute himself in just a moment.
There we go. Okay. So
start from the beginning.
The strategy hasn't changed because there wasn't a strategy going in, and there's not a strategy now. And Hegseth's response is the textbook example of an ad hominem attack. When you don't have an answer, when you've been backed into a corner with a question, your only option is to attack the person asking the question. And so that's what Hegseth did, because what was said is absolutely correct. He is an utter failure, in over his head. What's the Peter Principle? Promoted to your level of incompetence. He has no business being there. He can't spell DOD. And the senator was spot on.
I do want to ask this question because when I was in Congress, for example, after having heard that and having experienced it, if I had been there, I would probably vote against the $67 billion request of Pete Hegseth based upon the record, based upon what he has said just a few short weeks after the war, having accomplished the objectives of denuclearizing and stopping Iran from being able to attack, even though the Strait of Hormuz before the war was open, but now it's closed. I would vote against the $67.5 billion request. What I would also be running as a Democrat, possibly in the face of the wind, where the American Israeli Political Action Committee might see the $67.5 billion request, which from their perspective keeps Iran destabilized against their national security interests. And I think I would make the case that that's just not so. This has nothing to do with the security that the United States provides the state of Israel. This has everything to do with the U.S. government being involved in a protracted crisis that it cannot get out of right now because there never was a strategy or an articulated mission from the inception. Dr. Leon.
Iran doesn't look destabilized to me. The missiles that they're sending don't seem to be unstable. The millions of people that descended into the streets of Tehran and other cities across the country in support of their government, that didn't seem to be unstable to me. So if Netanyahu thinks that this fool's errand is destabilizing Iran, he might want to step outside his own, look at his own backyard. You want to see instability, check the Zionist colony, because his continuance, his trying to perpetuate this war, one of the reasons has to do with he doesn't want to find himself in court in his own country, and he's doing everything he can to stay out of court. So Hegseth also is using the age-old trope: if you don't fund the war, you don't back the warrior. You're not supporting our troops. And all of these tropes are now being exposed for the lies that they are.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we'll find out how we can support Dr. Leon and his work. We also had a word of hope coming from him, and we'll find out if there are any other issues that we need to discuss in this hour. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity. And you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
The Sickle Cell Community Consortium Warrior Convention, sponsored in part by Agios and Pfizer, is July 22nd through 26th. Sickle cell education, entertainment, and family fun. Free hotel scholarships are available. Register now at sicklecellconvention.org.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Let's do this. We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your healthcare, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen, a lot will change, but one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Following the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. In the next hour, Politics of Our Faith with Dr. S. Todd Yeary on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Looking forward to continuing a conversation with him about this particular question. But before I ask it, I want to talk to Dr. Leon about how we can support and help his work. Dr. Leon.
Oh, just go to WilmerLeon.com. Go to WilmerLeon.com. All the information about my show and my work is there, and you can reach out to me from that site, and I will respond.
Fantastic. Dr. Leon, the African American community, certainly in the media at this hour, is discussing the second autopsy report conducted by Ben Crump and the Nolan Wells family. Any insight that you have for us at this moment about the case overall, but the second autopsy report as well?
Because I don't have hard facts, I want to try to be as responsible as I can and not contribute to speculation. I just think that Ben Crump is on the right track. They've got the right guy on the job. And when he comes out and says that the autopsy that they conducted was inconclusive, we can't just sit and accept that as the reality. We've got to keep digging on this thing until we find out exactly what happened to Nolan Wells, because that story does not make any sense. And when the story doesn't make any sense, then you need to stay on it until it does.
I think that's right. I appreciate the care and the concern with which you approach the subject matter. We don't need any wild speculation or any more theories. And there is a process, a scientific process that includes biology, trying to make a determination to reconstruct a crime scene or a potential crime scene. We're not even in a position to say that it's a crime scene yet. But some people have already leaped to that conclusion, and rightfully so. On our show, we've talked about the history of Black male terror in the state of Mississippi. And so we've got a right to look at it with one eye open, one eye closed, crossed, twisted, and flipped upside down, because healthy young Black men just don't end up drowned and dead. And when it has happened historically, it was with assistance.
Wasn't by accident.
It was not by accident. These are the facts of what it means to be an African American in the United States. I think it was James Baldwin who said, "It is impossible to be Black in America and not wake up in some form of rage every single day."
Absolutely right.
So in this hour, we are certainly expressing our condolences to the Nolan Wells family, but we're also letting them know that they are not alone during this period. So grateful for Reverend Sharpton and Ben Crump, and to really everyone in the community that has rallied around this family, so that they know that they are not alone during this very, very difficult and very, very trying period. I don't want to speculate on some of the things that even Ben Crump said, because I do think we need to see the entire picture, hear the entire picture, and then make a judgment. Dr. Leon, we have about 3.5 minutes before we come forward. A word of hope.
Well, I don't know how much of this is a word of hope as it is what I think is a rational suggestion. I think I have to keep saying this because I have people that keep coming to me, bringing me different interpretations of my perspective on Mayor Mamdani and the Democratic Socialists. I am not suggesting that African Americans need to become Democratic Socialists. What I am suggesting is that a new politics is developing, and that as African Americans, we need to pay attention to it. And we need to see success breeds success. And so based upon what we're seeing so far and listening to the policy initiatives that they are articulating, I think we need to be asking ourselves, do those things make sense to us? And I've had people say to me, well, we can't listen to them because they're not championing issues. They're not championing Black issues. Well, Mamdani was born in Uganda to Indian parents. I don't expect him to articulate issues for the Black community. That's for us to do. Is there an avenue is there a pathway within that Democratic Party socialist platform for us to get on board? Are there pathways within the Democratic Party for us to articulate those issues? Because the Democrats can't go anywhere without us. We need to understand that. They can't win without us. And the time of don't be too Black, don't articulate your issues, yours will come by and by, those days are over. If we choose to put them to an end, it's up to us. It's not up to him. It's not up to the Democratic Socialists. It's up to us to seize the mantle and make it happen.
And my experience, just to add to that very brilliant and thoughtful word of hope, is that at every step along the way, even with the founding of the Republican Party in 1854 in Ripon, Wisconsin, we've had to hold them accountable. And we certainly had to hold the party of Thomas Jefferson, the Democrat-Republican Party of 1792-93 accountable. We still do. We're going to have to, as African Americans, hold the Democratic Socialists of America accountable to our issues as well. Just because they may be Marxist or advocate for a better distribution of wealth, it does not mean that they're fighting for us. And I think that's what I've heard Dr. Wilmer Leon say.
It's
Dr.
not
Leon,
the messenger, it's the message.
Dr. Leon, thank you so much for your participation this week.
My brother.
Look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, the politics of our faith with Dr. S. Todd Yeary. More on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Still undetermined. That's the results of a private autopsy conducted on behalf of the family of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Speaking at the NAACP National Convention in Chicago, civil rights attorney Ben Crump said the manner of Wells' death is still pending investigation.
He's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play.
Wells was found dead in the water on July 6th, just off Horn Island, Mississippi, where he was on a boating trip with friends. Tropical storm Bertha is making its way toward the Louisiana coast. Bertha is currently about 55 miles northeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River. And bipartisan lawmakers are introducing a bill aimed at providing a clear regulatory framework for hemp and hemp-derived THC products. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Beat the heat without breaking the bank at Wild Rivers Water Park in Irvine. Summer's hottest days mean the coolest savings at wildrivers.com. With 25 attractions to thrill and chill, Wild Rivers delivers sun and fun for everyone. Visit wildrivers.com for more information.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A two-run homer by Dodgers third baseman Max Muncy was enough for the Dodgers to squeeze out a 2-1 win Tuesday night in Philadelphia. The Dodgers wrap up their 3-game series in Philadelphia tonight. Somebody in the Miami Heat social media department got a little excited about the possibility of LeBron rejoining the team as a free agent. An announcement was displayed Tuesday on the Heat's YouTube channel promoting a LeBron introductory press conference on July 27th. The staff person created the post to have it ready just in case LeBron picks the Heat. Apparently, the person hit the wrong button and the post went public. The post was visible for about an hour before it was deleted. No word yet on whether the person still has a job with the Heat. The Heat, Golden State, Philadelphia, and Cleveland are the top contenders to sign LeBron. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know.
Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are now in the second hour of the politics of our faith. And before I play this clip of Senator Jon Ossoff from Georgia dressing down the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. I want to make this perfectly clear. Pete Hegseth is like a wannabe soldier. He doesn't come before the Senate prepared. He comes to do a commercial. He's somewhere between Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, trying to argue a movie role. Name the great military movies where you see this tough soldier. Maybe it's Gene Hackman as the submarine captain, or maybe it's Denzel Washington with his responses to Gene Hackman as the submarine captain, or maybe it's Sean Connery in the movie where he's a submarine captain and the American submarine that is pursuing this submarine where he is there is this entire bravado kind of thing. And I can only imagine when he's not in front of the Senate testifying that Pete Hegseth in front of the president is some kind of actor who's promoting American strength. He's the one guy with the biggest gun in the room, with the smallest hands and the smallest feet. But John Ossoff right here has him by the short and curlies. Listen to this.
Military was destroyed and combat ineffective. You said, quote, Operation Epic Fury was a historic and overwhelming victory. You said Iran's military had been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come. And you stated we had, quote, achieved every single objective. Were those accurate statements?
It certainly was, on behalf of the men and women in uniform, a historic military victory over Iran.
Had Iran's military been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come? That was a statement that you made 4 months ago.
They had 160 naval vessels in the Blue Water Navy, and they're gone. Their Air Force is completely combat ineffective, and they don't have a defense industrial base. So describe to me a country that doesn't have an Air Force, a Navy, or a defense industrial base, and I will describe to you a country that does not have an effective military. It can lob missiles.
Mr. Secretary, you stated 4 months ago that Iran's military had been rendered, quote, combat ineffective for years to come. Has Iran's military been, for the last 4 months, combat ineffective?
It's been set back not just years, but likely decades.
You stated we had, quote,
build at the level it did before, and not even close. It doesn't mean it doesn't have capabilities.
Mr. Secretary, you stated we had, quote, achieved every single objective. Was that an accurate statement 4 months ago?
The main objective of this was to ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. Their main sites were obliterated. We're watching over them, and we're holding them that issue. If they don't give them up at the table, there's other ways we can take them away.
Early in the conflict
Iran will
on
never
day
have a
3,
nuclear
Mr.
weapon.
Secretary, early in the conflict, day 3, you said one of those core objectives was to, quote, destroy the missile threat. And as you restated on day 5, to, quote, obliterate Iran's missiles and drones. Those were clearly and repeatedly stated core objectives of the campaign, which 4 months ago you declared had been completed victoriously with every single objective achieved. Were those objectives achieved 4 months ago?
No one ever stated that every single missile was gone. Ultimately, combat ineffective means they're not able to dig them out of their UGFs and shoot
Had
at
the
us.
missile
It
threat
doesn't mean they
been
don't have
defeated
underground
4 months
facilities
ago?
where they put missiles in them and hold on to them because they're the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism. So we never expected they would stop having capabilities to shoot. The question is at scale against an opponent like the United States of America, which went toe-to-toe with them, and Iran couldn't.
You stated on March 8th, day 9 of the war, on 60 Minutes, you assured the American people of Iranian surrender. Does that remain your prediction?
Ultimately, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon to threaten the United States of America. That has been the objective, and it remains so.
So just to review, you will not answer whether your statement made on the 14th day of the war that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and made combat ineffective was a truthful statement to the American people as you sit here and ask for tens of billions more for the conflict.
Senator's time has
But a
expired.
historic and effective military campaign against the largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Won't answer the
ensure they
question.
never
Senator
get a nuclear
Peters
weapon, Senator.
is
Government of the United States has spent $37.5 billion in this conflict, and he was before that Senate committee today asking for an additional $67.5 billion. That's the context. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Dr. S. Todd Yeary when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call Select
SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Wealthy Wednesdays, and now we are in the politics of our faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary, Esquire, principal of the Yeary Firm, a Maryland-based litigation and government relations firm, and also serves as senior pastor of the Douglas Memorial Community Church of Baltimore and affiliates. Dr. Yeary is former chief executive officer of the Rainbow Push Coalition, the international human and civil rights organization founded by my late father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Dr. Yeary's social justice work includes having served on the national board of the National Action Network from 2015 to 2021, and the past political action chair for the Maryland State Conference of the NAACP. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the show.
Good to be with you, my brother. I was sitting here trying to figure out now, how many more ways can you go, huh?
Man, I am so glad that you were here. I got to ask you a question. Now, we've already spent $37.5 billion in this conflict, war with Iran, that both Pete Hegseth and the President of the United States declared victory for some 4 months ago. We've had peace agreements, ceasefires, peace agreements that lasted 24 hours or less than 24 hours. We've heard all of this shifting language. Clearly, Senator Peters says there's no strategy. Clearly, Senator John Ossoff is on to a timeline that Pete Hegseth cannot dance around. But the reality is today they're asking for $67.5 billion. That is twice the amount of money that they have spent thus far. Dr. Yeary, this conflict is far from over.
Well, it's not really about the conflict, right? When you come to the Congress for money, you're coming for the money. We've often had these conversations that, you know, a supposed billionaire, of course, he got to be a billionaire after he took office the second time, would only want to take a job paying $450,000 a year that requires him to live in public housing when he's disqualified from living in public housing, by the way. The only reason he does it is because he gets to direct where the money goes. So to come back and get another $60 billion, he's got some friends and some colleagues, probably in the defense industry, that are going to need to make some of the munitions that they have depleted on blowing up everything from empty deserts to little speedboats in the middle of the ocean, because that's what he does. He takes care of the folks that he likes. And so that's not really an ask that's tied to an agenda or an outcome. It's not coming with a plan that speaks to what are the needs of the United States writ large. It's a window of opportunity for him to play with monopoly money, and the monopoly money is coming out of our pockets.
You know, I think that's about as clear as I've heard what's taking place with this. We have no strategy. We have no mission or objectives, but he's asking for another nearly $70 billion. And we have absolutely no idea beyond the munitions of where it's actually going or how it's actually going to be distributed or who the beneficiaries are. It is that deep, but it's, again, right, the grift is right in front of us. It's taking place right now in real time. Dr. Uri, I really appreciate your insights on that. Dr. Uri, let me pivot, if I can, to really the same subject. In the first hour, we talked about Mayor Zoran Mamdani's most recent speech, suggesting that he does not have the authority to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu when he comes to the United Nations. We all understand the significance and the point of that, sovereignty of the UN, the ability to come to the UN without threat of arrest, and most importantly, in this particular case, the United States government's unwillingness to enforce the ICC's warrant for Mr. Netanyahu's arrest. I'm wondering if in this moment, this crisis that we see taking place in Iran is going to be on the ballot box in these primaries, in the general election, and how it could impact the midterm elections this coming November.
Well, let me say it should be part of a package of issues that are really ballot initiatives coming up in this midterm. You've got money going out the door to fuel a war with no objectives. All you got to do is you can tie the whole lot of them together and ask them at one time, what's the goal? What's the end game? And you will get in unison, because they have no harmony. They're going to say, right? That's what we heard from the secretary. Every time Senator Ossoff asked him a question, he deflected. Didn't you say this? He doesn't say, yeah, this is what I said. Why? Because he can't say no. Because when he testified before in front of the committee, he took an oath. You swear the witness. So for him to come back and say, now, I lied. Well, you don't want perjury like hanging out there. That's not a problem. So what do? You deflect. I mean, filibustering is in style. And this is one where everybody that comes and has this conversation, they get to talk about that which is irrelevant. So we don't have objectives in Iran any more than you hear the president make a primetime speech and talk about literally nothing that has to do with the current pain of masses of people in the United States, including those that are part of his base. He wants to talk about the boogeyman we got to protect the midterms because China all of a sudden is the villain in this stage play. So at the end of the day, this is what happens when you take the incompetent and the ill-informed and you put them in charge of the country. And so when the mayor of New York says, I don't have the authority to arrest the head of state, that's actually true legally, because he is really basically the CEO of a municipal corporation. He has no authority to arrest a sovereign or a diplomat from a sovereign nation who is here on official business, even, I think, if they were to commit what would be a violation of U.S. law while they were here. So to have the mayor of New York kind of answer, are you going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu? Well, let's just go on and take that off the table. That first of all is fanciful and it's a fairy tale. The real question is, will the crook that got elected arrest the other crook that got elected when he comes to the country? And what we do know is that ain't going to happen, because birds of a feather flock together.
Dr. Uri, What gives the United States the authority to enforce its federal warrants in Venezuela against the Maduro family, or even the ability of the United States in previous administrations to enforce warrants for arrest against Noriega? And yet, when the International Criminal Court and other countries want their warrants enforced in the United States gets to ignore them or can comply. Why the latter?
Yeah, so it's kind of like learning the rules. There are two games that intrigue me. One intrigues me, one frustrates me, right? So Monopoly intrigues me. Scrabble frustrates me, right? Because you got to figure out some words and try to
proper spelling.
Yeah, you can't say I got close in Scrabble. You got to know it because there's a dictionary right there. So either you're gonna get smarter playing Scrabble or you're gonna be out the game real quick. So we know his vocabulary is limited. We know the vocabulary is limited. Here's what happens when you're not going to abide by international agreements, right? When you're a sovereign, you get to hold back. We know this from, and certainly you know this. You've been a member of the Congress. That there are things called reservations that any sovereign country can have about any kind of international agreement, right? Whether it's a treaty or some other bilateral agreement, it becomes non-binding. And at any time, you can decide that as the leader of a sovereign nation, we choose not to abide by it. Typically, that's when you get caught doing something you should not do. That's the United States game. It's been that game throughout history. We've seen it time and again. And so the one thing that this country has a habit of doing is avoiding accountability amongst its international peers. And so, coming to the UN, I'm more interested in when we look at the schedule, when the General Assembly meets in September, who's going to get the platform and what are they going to say? We know we're going to hear from the president. You're going to hear from the prime minister, Netanyahu. But who else is going to get to take the platform at a key moment and speak to the leaders of the world, free or otherwise, and make their position known? And whether or not they get arrested, my concern is you arrest them, they're going to get out. They have to be released. They can't be held. They're holding Maduro because they want to make an example. But Maduro it's Venezuela. It ain't Russia.
And they want to arrest the former president of Cuba. And so when U.S. warrants are enforceable by the U.S. military, we go into those countries looking for the criminal defendant, essentially bringing them to U.S. courts under our processes, including due processes of law. But when it comes to other countries wanting to enforce their warrants in the United States gets to say they're welcome in the United States for the term by which they're coming and for the purposes by which they're coming, and that we have no power to enforce a warrant, no matter what crime has been committed against another people somewhere in the world. It just reeks of a kind of hypocrisy. Doc, we got about 6 minutes before we come forward, and I do want to ask you, maybe 4 minutes before we come forward, your thoughts on the independent autopsy of Brother Nolan Wells.
Yeah, this is where you have to take a deep breath inside. We've been at it now a good 20 or so minutes, having a conversation around the chicanery and clownishness of some things, and then we have this to discuss. And the fact that you need a second autopsy is troublesome in and of itself. It says you don't have full confidence in the system that will let you know what are the causes and manners of death of persons who find themselves dying by something other than natural causes. I think when we look at it, the question becomes, what's the follow-up? Who gets challenged? This is where, in what I do pretty much every day, is have to look at how the system responds to setting up whatever the case may be, particularly when it comes to criminal behavior. And we're not always the criminals who are behaving. We're often the victims of the criminal behavior of other folks who rarely get charged. And so I want to see where this goes. I want to see how aggressive the prosecutor is going to be with looking at the detail behind what's in the summary of the autopsy. Who's going to have the courage to put the reports side by side? Because the reports don't just come with narrative. They come with photos. They come with analysis. They're going to reach the same conclusion, right? Cause of death is going to be this. Manner of death is going to be died at the hands of others, which is a homicide. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a criminal prosecution. And so it gives you some detail. It doesn't necessarily give you any action.
Well, our thoughts and prayers are obviously, again, with the Wells family at this hour. We have a history, certainly since Brown versus the Board of Education, but all throughout Jim Crow, and even before Jim Crow, from the long dark night of our people's existence on these shores, from the 1619 arrival in Jamestown, Virginia, through the creation of the country itself. The state of Mississippi has just not done right by Black people. And that's subjective. I don't think we have to go through all of the history here. So the Negro in America has a reason for reasonable suspicion of the processes. Anytime the local sheriff's department and local authorities say essentially that there was no need to further investigate, that it was practically, I guess, death by misadventure, even though no one's story is adding up. It sounds like something has taken place here. And what I appreciate in this hour about Reverend Sharpton and Ben Crump is that they're keeping the light on dark places. I've seen some very unkind things written about these brothers on social media and even spoken ill of them in the media, but without them keeping light on the dark places, the lights would go out, the story would disappear, a family would continue to grieve, have dozens, maybe hundreds of unanswered questions. And that in and of itself, my brothers and sisters, is its own memory. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more in the politics of our faith with Dr. S. Todd Yeary on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. The family of 18-year-old Nolan Wells is still pressing for answers with the announcement that results from an independent autopsy shows the cause of death is still undetermined.
There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son.
Wells was found dead in the water on July 6th, just off Horn Island, Mississippi, where he was on a boating trip with friends for the 4th of July weekend. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is voting to end a rule that requires companies to show diversity in the workplace. The 60-year-old rule requires companies with 100 employees or more to report workplace demographics, including sex, race, and ethnicity. And LeBron James' agent says his client won't be rushed into making a decision on his next destination. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Beat the heat without breaking the bank at Wild Rivers Water Park in Irvine. Summer's hottest days mean the coolest savings at wildrivers.com. With 25 attractions to thrill and chill, Wild Rivers delivers sun and fun for everyone. Visit wildrivers.com for more information.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A two-run homer by Dodgers third baseman Max Muncy was enough for the Dodgers to squeeze out a 2-1 win Tuesday night in Philadelphia. The Dodgers wrap up their 3-game series in Philadelphia tonight. Somebody in the Miami Heat social media department got a little excited about the possibility of LeBron rejoining the team as a free agent. An announcement was displayed Tuesday on the Heat's YouTube channel promoting a LeBron introductory press conference on July 27th. The staff person created the post to have it ready just in case LeBron picks the Heat. Apparently, the person hit the wrong button and the post went public. The post was visible for about an hour before it was deleted. No word yet on whether the person still has a job with the Heat. The Heat, Golden State, Philadelphia, and Cleveland are the top contenders to sign LeBron. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This isn't a talk show.
It's a town hall with no walls.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Girl, it's back. We've been waiting. I love that honey pepper pimento sandwich.
And that pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite is everything. It's got that razzle dazzle that makes you stop and say, okay, wait a minute.
I love the creaminess of the pimento cheese. It's savory, it's bold, it's flavorful.
Our faves are back. I saw, girl.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Number 14. That's where Talkers Magazine ranked Tavis Smiley on their heavy 100 list of the 100 most important talk radio hosts in America. Join Tavis weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in the politics of our faith with Reverend Dr. S. Todd Yeary. Dr. Yeary is the founding principal of SALT, a strategic advocacy and legislative think tank, a faith-based policy collaborative that works on regional and national empowerment strategies and impacting disaffected communities. He's often called upon to facilitate creative conversations that solve challenging public policy problems. Dr. Yeary, welcome forward to the show.
Always good to be with you, my brother. There's a whole lot going on.
Doc, let me go back to Brother Nolan Wells for a moment, because I had this 6 minutes during our intermission, if you will, to reflect upon my own son. And I'm going to try and not be emotional about it, but it's the reality that every Black parent, maybe even every brown parent in this very heightened environment of immigration enforcement without due process of laws, is going through. My son is healthy. He doesn't have a heart condition. He's an athlete. He's blessed and fortunate enough to be on his father's health care plan. He doesn't have a kidney problem. He doesn't have a mental problem. He doesn't have brain problems, all of his limbs and organs, as far as I can tell, are that of a healthy 22-year-old. Nolan Wells was an athlete. He'd passed a number of physicals in order to be an athlete for the community college that he played football. You just don't walk on the team. No evidence of any mental capacities or struggles or concerns of some sudden illness that could take his life. But I can only imagine on July 4th when he said to his parents that he was going to hang out with his friends, that if he had a medical condition, they would have said, no, don't go. We're going to go to the doctor's office. We're going to check on your medical condition. We're going to see how you're doing and or whether or not you can hang out all night long or all day long with your friends. The parents took no such precautions because on July 4th, that morning, there was not a single worry by the Wells family that there was anything that was unhealthy about their child that would prohibit him from being able to hang out with his boys on some island somewhere in Mississippi. And then the circumstances suddenly change. Not only is he found in a state of some form, I think I read in the autopsy report, of decomposition, but unalive. We don't know if it's from drowning, but there's been no evidence to suggest one way or the other that that's actually what took place. There is no evidence or any stories that I've heard so far of anyone trying to offer Brother Wells respiratory assistance because suddenly he had a cardiac event and stopped breathing. We are led to believe that a perfectly healthy child, now I'm not an investigator, who woke up on July 4th, whose parents had no worries about his activities hanging out with his young friends, that something took place so catastrophic and so suddenly that he did not return home and was subsequently found deceased. This fact pattern, from my perspective, Dr. Urey, is unimaginable, and it's almost unreconcilable. Dr. Urey, you've covered more of these cases than I can ever imagine.
Yeah. And having reviewed autopsy reports and having had to interpret them and analyze them, because there's only so much information you can put out publicly, I'm just thinking through where are the questions that I would have. One, he was found dead in the water. I would want to find out, of course, depending on the water temperature, about what time they think death actually occurred. They can calculate that by trying to figure out what the body temperature is at a certain amount of time and do some factoring. The other part is you hear that there are parts of Nolan Wells's body that were not available for the independent autopsy. So there's some literally, and not to be pejorative, but there are pieces missing. What's going on with his lungs? He's found in the water. Were there signs of water in the lungs? Did he exasperate? Did he drown? I haven't heard drowning. So was he deceased when his body is in the water? That would be a question. So when we start thinking about deep tissue signs of discoloration, was there blunt force trauma that Nolan Wells experienced from someone or something that led to him losing consciousness, and was that near the water? The other part is the police. I would want to know what's on the island, what's near the island, how do you get to the island, where are the cameras along the way? Everybody's got cameras these days on just about anything and everything. What kind of camera evidence are they putting together to kind of see what the activity was on July 4th after the time that Nolan Wells leaves his home with his parents and he hooks up with his colleagues to go wherever they're going. And so there's a lot here that it sounds like there are a lot of missing pieces, the part of investigations. In order to get to the right answers, you got to know how to ask the right questions. And I'm not sure those questions have all been exhausted.
I'm struck by it all. And I am, because I have a son, I know you have children as well. And I know every Black parent, maybe even brown parent, maybe even white parent of goodwill, giving some thought to the surrounding events, are scratching their head and asking themselves the questions that the Wells family are asking right now at this moment. And they are deeply troubling questions. It is difficult to accept that a child you were with in the morning, when you sent them to school, and then during school, you find out that there has been a shooting or a mass shooting or a mass shooting event at a school, and you go from having provided breakfast for your child and wishing them well to having to rush to a school to determine if the entire world that you have been living in is now upside down. Many parents are blessed to know that their children have been safe under these environments. But then for the unfortunate few who've been victims of these events, the questions continue to linger. And getting to the bottom of those questions is a profound emotional human experience and process that no one should have to go through alone. And so this is not a game trying to get to the truth. Getting to the truth is about also getting a good night's sleep. Getting to the cause of justice is also about getting a good night's sleep. It has everything to do with the rest of the living people's lives, trying to find answers to unanswered questions for a young man who used to sprint, who had no problem, based on what we've been told, swimming, but for people to leave him there, for his phone to be found on someone else's person, his only means of communication with the outside world, for him not to have his own keys, and for no one to be concerned enough about Nolan that night when he did not make it home to say, you know what, I'm going back out to the island in my boat to see if my guy is out there, because no one has reported the condition or where Nolan is. That's a problem. That's a problem for how we relate to our neighbors. And it goes to the heart of our faith, not just to the criminal justice system, not to the faith of what it means to be an American. It goes to our trust and our belief in our American neighbors, our compatriots, our family, our friends. And so I'm struck in this moment because in a real sense, our faith has been untethered. That if something happens to me on an island with my friends, that they're going to leave me, that they're not going to call my parents and say something is wrong, that they're not going to notify the authority, that you don't care enough about me and my personhood or my being to share with people where I am or the condition that I'm in, whether I'm inebriated, out of my mind, having an out-of-body experience, or arrested by the local authorities. It's unimaginable that people in my space would not come to my support and rescue. It's difficult to accept. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Dr. S. Todd Yeary and the politics of our faith when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-324-3030. That's 800-324-3030. Again, that's 800-324-3030.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know. Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises, and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and sadly has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I do have a couple of final questions I'd like to ask Dr. S. Todd Yeary in this moment that we close out our show. Dr. Yeary's been the principal of the law firm. He is both in the courtroom. He's the pastor of a church, the Douglas Memorial Community Church. He's also been an executive, in fact, the chief executive officer of the Rainbow Push Coalition, an organization founded by my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He's also been a member of the board and has worked very closely with Reverend Al Sharpton at the National Action Network. And he's been the political action chair for the Maryland State Conference of the NAACP in the state of Maryland. And in light of the fact that the NAACP, our nation's oldest organization, civil rights, human rights organization, is holding its convention in Chicago right now at this hour, I'm wondering, Dr. Yeary, if our organizations, through your very unique vantage point as having worked with many of them, are they tooled for the current political, economic, social, and cultural crisis that we are confronting as a people, as a community, and as a country? Are they ready, Dr. Yeary?
Well, it's a great question. It's actually two questions. First question is, are they tooled? You only find that out through the process of engagement, which then gets us to the second question. Are they ready? Now, that's why I believe unequivocally that they are, right? You never, having sat with just some of the most profound thinkers, your father amongst them, who walks now with us in spirit, they didn't always walk in knowing that they had it figured out. They started by believing that they had the intestinal fortitude, the capacity to work through it, recognizing that it was going to require courage and resilience and persistence and tenacity. And I think too often, unfortunately, in our politics, we want the answer to be given to us like it's an open book test. The question isn't whether or not you have the answer. That's why there's so much frustration in the body politic. because they keep offering answers when they haven't really honed in on what's the real question. And so whoever has the courage to ask the right questions, tough questions, difficult questions, painful questions, those are going to be the organizations, the persons, the advocates, the organizers who are going to help us get to the right answers, because the answers don't come through the civil rights organizations. The answers come through the conversations the civil rights organizations have with the people who have the problems that need answering in the first place.
Something to ponder, a lot to think about from someone who has had access to 3, if not more, of these civil and human rights organizations for such a time as this. Dr. Uri, a word of hope for our national audience.
Well, short version, with as much time as we've talked today about the clownery of government, but then the granularity of the pain of a mother and a father who've lost their son and can't get any answers. We have to be careful that we don't fall into a state of despair. We have to be sober-minded. We have to be honest about how we feel in this moment. There's a great deal of concern, but more than anything else, we can't get through this. We can't stand with Nolan Wells's family. We can't stand with our kids for our kids. Congressman, I remember when Jesse was a little guy. Trey has come, he's grown now. To have watched that, I recognize that we're not alone. There's a God factor in here, and we cannot get so frustrated that we lose sight of the fact that, as our anthem says, the God of our weary years, the God of our silent tears, the one who has brought us thus far on the way, the one who has by his might led us into the light. He will keep us forever in the path we pray.
It doesn't get much more powerful than that. Those of you who've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. show this week, we talked about the importance and the significance of the Negro National Anthem and how all of us need to learn the words to the song and stop scatting through it. It is not a scat. Shabup, 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 da 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 da. No, it's not that at all. Dr. Uri laid out God of our weary years, God of our silent tears. The process by which, through resilience, faith, and hope, we have endured almost every conceivable obstacle in our way. And just as the strength of what is taking place in the Wells household today, every one of our households in some way, shape, or form or format have had to experience some form of this resilience, of this hope, of this making it in spite of. Dr. Uri, welcome. Thank you for being on the show this week.
Always good to be with you, my brother.
Look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Up next, Brother DL. God bless everybody. See you all tomorrow.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.